This is Tailgate Talk, a different look at an outdoor show. A couple of guys just hanging around, shooting the bull, and we're going to do a lot of that this week. Sharing some stories about some of our terrible trips that could have been a lot worse. And we got a little hint at the end of the show about something we're going to do on the next episode that's kind of cool. But we're going to start talking about bourbon. This is Tailgate Talk. All right, this is Tailgate Talk. I am host Sean Ritter, Wags, a.k.a. Paul Wagner, and Steve with me. Still waiting on one more. Don't forget, if you want to find us on socials, it is at On The Tailgate, Instagram and Twitter. Want to hear what you think of the show, what you're liking so far. If you've listened to some past episodes, I know we were just talking about some of the things we were looking forward to purchasing in 2021. The last episode, we went to the Wisconsin Wolf Hunt. We kind of broke down some of Wisconsin's best outdoor traditions and more. So let us know at On The Tailgate.
I'm ready.
Hey, there's Tasker.
Where is he? Down there?
Tasker?
Yeah.
Tasker's on the phone. He's at home.
Oh.
Or he's on
I'm
Switchboard.
sorry I'm not there with you this week. Boy, I thought two of us would be virtual, but I didn't realize you were coming in. Otherwise, I would have made the trip in.
Don't lie, Tasker. I know you're staying home because you were out late night last night hanging at the distillery.
Well, here's one
as
for
far
you.
as my go-to,
So
really
you were
my
at the
favorite is
distillery. Obviously, it's a big bourbon
Eagle
whiskey
Rare,
bar.
but it's just so impossible to find around
There's
here.
a minor league player named Luttig, Luttig. He does bourbon and baseball, and he does like websites or YouTube like taste testing and talking baseball, and he does do hunting and stuff. So we
should get him on.
I know, I think so too.
All right, so you mentioned bourbon. Favorite bourbon currently? Go.
Oh.
Mine is so I'm actually just starting to get into it. I don't know a whole lot about bourbon. I just know that the higher the proof, the spicier it feels on your tongue. But I've actually really enjoyed this 1792 Sweet Wheat is the one that I've been feeling lately. I don't know, it's like a 92 proof. It's got a little sweetness to it, as the name of it says, and it's kind of a nice entry into the world of bourbon for me.
I would agree.
Yeah. Me, I really like, as I mentioned, I like that L bourbon. It's really nice. It's kind of smooth. I don't know what the alcohol content is. I don't know if it's a higher proof or I kind of have a tendency to stay away from like the 120, like the makers.
How do you spell that? I've never heard of L bourbon.
It's just L. It's just the letter L, sort of, and it's based.
It's Central Standard.
That's what it is. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's the mock-up of the Cubs L flag
for the W. Yep. Correct. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Central Standard Distilling. That's Milwaukee.
So then what I did is I went over there and I got hooked up with these little oak barrels, and you make your own. So I like it a little bit. I like to be able to drink it. I don't like to get knocked out. So what I did is I made my own, and I went with a lower grade, like an 82 proof Old Forester. Granted, it's already been aged and stuff like that, but I did it, I'm not going to make my own whiskey or bourbon and start from scratch type thing with moonshine. So I took the Old Forester, and then I put a little bit of, I mixed it with a little cherry and a little cinnamon sticks, and I just dropped them in there. So I got a little spice with a little thing, and it tastes pretty good. So I got maybe 3 more weeks to let it sit in a barrel, and then I'm going to crack that out. But I did taste it.
Look at him. He's like spicing up his own liquors. Look at that.
Yeah.
Next venture for Wags is Liquor Master or something.
So if the distillery gets blown up in Richfield or Germantown,
God.
you know we got screwed.
We knew you were a redneck. We didn't know you were running a still. I mean, as far as my go-to, really my favorite is probably Eagle Rare, but it's just so impossible to find around here.
Yeah. Between that and anything from Buffalo Trace, boy, you're lucky to find anything anywhere.
Which is the same distillery. Eagle Rare comes from the Buffalo Trace distillery.
Yep.
That I also love some of the Jefferson's Ocean. So this is where they take a bunch of barrels, they put it into the hold of a ship, and they send it out to sea for 6 months. And so the whole point is how many times this thing crosses the equator, and they kind of give you the whole story.
Really?
It sounds strange, but you think about the salt water as it kind of gets into the hold of when barrel dries out and gets wet, it expands and contracts. So there's some bit of that kind of, I swear, you can taste some of that salt air or salt that kind of gets in some of these, and each different voyage has kind of different flavors. So that's kind of a fun one as well. I would say middle to upper level bourbon, and just based on price alone. That's kind of one that I enjoy. 'Cause I think
that's kind of a shorter, wider bottle, right?
Yeah, I mean, because the normal you can get like a Jefferson's Reserve or like a regular Jefferson's for around $30 to $40 a bottle. You get into the Ocean, that's like $70. I think it retails for a bottle.
Okay.
Yeah, I think my go-to is definitely Eagle Rare. I love to sip me some good Eagle Rare, and again, like you said, Buffalo Trace. Although Buffalo Trace makes a hell of an old fashioned, by the way.
They have now at the distillery. You can get Jack Daniel's Fire.
Yep.
Old fashions now too.
Yeah, they've got a nice list of different old fashions. They've got. I know when it was the Mardi Gras season, they had I don't know if they called it a Cajun old fashioned. But they had something that kind of had a New Orleans twist on it. They do a really nice job with all of their different drinks that they've got there. Just make sure you get there early if you're trying to go on a Friday or a Saturday night.
Right.
It's insane. Yeah.
Isn't any place that way now? I mean, now that things are starting to open up post-COVID, that more people are trying to get out, and just it's more impossible to get into things and into places like restaurants.
Pretty much. They've got a smaller room though, a smaller facility. So it just, it took Sherry and I a handful of times just to even get in there. We finally got in there. We went to Cabela's one day, and we happened to get in right away at like 1:00 on a Saturday afternoon, and was able to taste some stuff. But yeah, it's a zoo there.
Might I say the bar and restaurant scene is on fire?
Right.
Yes.
In Fuego. Speaking of fires, man. Did you notice anything with that big fire that was up in Menominee Falls? I mean, how far are you from that, Wags?
No, but I saw it and I heard it. Last thing I saw is they did not know how it was started, but I saw a list of all the departments that came, from Allenton all the way to, I mean, it was phenomenal. I just saw the participants that helped put that out, but no, I didn't know what happened or how it was caused.
I heard rumor it could be a spark from a train. And that's it's kind of crazy. I was talking about this with someone as well when it comes to wildfires. You typically don't think of wildfires in the state of Wisconsin. When you think of wildfire, what do you think of?
California.
Out west.
Yep.
We do have a wildfire season, and the spring is always our wildfire season because when the snow melts, what's under it? Dead, crappy stuff that typically dries out. This year, because how fast the snow went away, everything being dead underneath it dried out so quickly, it's like even more extreme. So any bit of rain that we get, I sound like the old man, right? Like you always think of the old guys like, oh, it rained, we really needed it. I feel like that when I say it, but like legitimately, like our woods, we do need the rain just because everything's so dead and dry underneath. I mean, there was the weekend of the Menominee Falls fire, that kind of big one that was there. There was at that point, I believe the DNR said 150 wildfires that weekend.
Really?
Yes, in the state of Wisconsin. Smallish, but the fact there's that many fires in our state is crazy. And I see people, going to the grocery store and buying hunks of wood to have bonfires. And it was like, I remember literally that weekend, Saturday night, my wife was like, oh, maybe we should have a fire outside tonight. And I was like, little burn thing. I don't want to start the neighborhood on fire. I'm sure we'd be fine, but let's be the responsible people that aren't doing that.
And a lot of people were burning off food plots. They were burning ditches. They were trying to get a head start on it. So yeah, exactly. I can see where it kind of took off a little bit, especially with the dry weather.
Yeah, I just always thought that was interesting. I was like, oh, Wisconsin wildfires? What? It is. I wanted to get to this because it's something that people have hit us up on our socials about. By the way, it's @on the tailgate. Wanting to know more stories, more goofy, fun things. So I know that we've all been on some sort of hunt or something where just it absolutely went to crap and maybe could have been worse. Is there one particular you can think of off the top of your head? Because I'll share one of mine that there's actually two phases to this exact trip that it's just an absolute disaster. The guys that I hunted with a lot, that I grew up with, some of my high school buddies, my brother, we every year would take a duck hunting trip to La Crosse area. So we'd hunt out of Stoddard. We'd bring our boats down. We'd stay at this what the heck was the hotel? I remember it was right on the north side of the cross, just off of 90. We stayed there because we could get one room that had 3 queen beds. So 6 of us dudes, we would just pair. We don't care. You're sleeping back to back. You're napping anyway at that point. But they had outlets outside the hotel so we could plug in and charge our boats. So yeah, we'd have to drive all the way through town and all the way down to Stoddard, but it was worth it for the price of this hotel and having the charging. We get there and we go to hunt the very first morning. This would have been on a Saturday. Yeah, it was a Saturday where we're going to hunt. You already know how a boat launch is going to be on a Saturday during duck season. We're leaving super early thinking we're going to beat the crowds at the boat launch, right? As we're on the way, we figure out that 2 of our guys forgot their friggin' licenses. Which only think we one thing, but like you're on the Mississippi River where you know there's a lot of wardens, there's all of that. You better damn well have your federal duck stamp. You better have everything you need just because we don't want to deal with the hassle. So there we are, 3:30 in the morning, trying to talk and associate at the Walmart exactly through what we needed. Luckily, it was just getting duplicate license, but they still had to buy another federal stamp, so they bought the second federal stamp for that year. Finally get there, and it is just a disaster at the boat launch. Trying to get in, people everywhere. It was just a mess. So we finally get out there. We're trying to get set up on a spot. And no more than we start getting set up and are starting to lay decoys. We were going to kind of do like a hunt off of an island type situation, but it was just deep enough where you couldn't walk out, so we had to set decoys off of the boat. Kill the motor, start drifting, setting decoys, go to restart the motor, pulled the cord right off the frickin' motor.
Oh, no.
In current, on the Mississippi River, no way to start your outboard. After forgetting licenses, I mean, I don't think this thing could have went any frickin' worse this entire trip.
Wow.
We managed to luckily be able to pull off the top of the motor and take the rope and wrap it around the flywheel and pull it and get it started that way. But at that point, it was like, okay, this boat is out of commission. We ended up just pulling the plug on that morning hunt, getting the boats up on the trailers and going to leave. You want to know more of a disaster? As we're putting the boats in the trailers, guess who backed the trailer of one of the boats way too far into the water? Wait, you have no brake lights anymore. Burned out the lights. Oh. So now we have a boat motor doesn't work. We don't have trailer lights on here. We have the licenses. Breakfast and beers were definitely happening that day. It was just... we luckily got things pieced together. We got back out that afternoon, shot a couple of birds, got back out the next day limping through, shot a few more birds. But, man, that could have been an absolute just crap-tastic trip. I mean, out to, it's... So there, I started with my little show and tell. Anyone want to top that?
Well, I can't top that, but I think that when we first got our kayak, so I'm not a small guy, so for me, it's just, I needed to make sure that I found the right kayak that actually worked for me. And, so last year when we finally got ours, I went to Cabela's. I'm looking at all these different kayaks that we had. And, I had gone kayaking probably 4 times. 3 of the 4 times I ended up in the water. Okay, so I was very hesitant about it already. And my wife is like, I love doing this, so you need to figure it out. Okay, so we go. I'm thinking, all right, well, I'm going to get a bigger kayak. It's got a nice wide platform. I'm going to be just fine. The seat sitting up on top. It was a sit-on-top version. Fully set up for fishing. I had all my gear and everything in there. And it just wasn't stable enough for me. So I get 2 strokes out into the water, right in. All of my fishing gear, all of my everything that I packed into the kayak, all in the water. And of course, it's right next to a pier where there's people fishing. So they all see it. They see my stuff floating all over the place. And it was so terribly embarrassing. And I just kept thinking, okay, this just is not for me. Obviously, I'm never going to be able to kayak because I just can't, my center of gravity is too high, or it's just not for me. So, but fortunately we got everything packed back up again. There was a small current or like small waves in the lake that day. So, it was kind of a challenge, but we were able to get out, and I kind of stayed close to shore. And then I immediately took my kayak back to Cabela's and bought a different one. I just realized that I needed to get a sit inside one where, I'm kind of down inside the hull a little more, but yeah, so fortunately I was able to figure that out. And now, the one that I have now, I feel so incredibly safe. We took it out on Pike Lake the next day, and there was a ton of chop on the water that day, and I'd never felt so safe. So I just fortunately was able to get over that. But hey, it's a big part. Getting out on the water and trying to enjoy it, the last thing you want to be is nervous about tipping over and, not being stable and everything. So, fortunately for me, I'm going to have a lot more reasons to spend time on the water with my wife and actually enjoy it without being panicked and stressed out the entire time.
So there's no way you're going to want to jump into my lightning kayak then, is what you're saying?
Absolutely not. It's only a 1 person, so that's fine. I don't have to get in yours.
We'll do it not near a pier where everyone can stare at you while you're trying to fumble around and roll around in the water.
Right.
Oh, Wags, you got something?
What do you got?
Yeah, you talk about, real quick before I get into that story, you talk about stability and tipping over. Again, one of the hot topics just recently, as you've heard, that the south of Oshkosh, north of Fond du Lac, on that southwest corner of Bago, 2 guys in a canoe, unfortunately passed away, tipping over, in 8 foot of water. But, heck, we know that water turns quick, especially early season. You got to be careful. You got to be very careful.
I say all the time, any body of water, you have to treat it with respect. And growing up in the Great Lakes like I did, Bay of Green Bay, Lake Michigan, doing all that fishing, especially places like the Bay of Green Bay, Lake Winnebago is another. In just one shift of the wind, that thing can turn gnarly and get dangerous really quick. When I heard the story, as sad as that was, those 2 canoers, my first thought was, what the hell were they doing out there in that wind? I mean, you got to be. Again, you got to give respect to Mother Nature. Water is an absolutely powerful thing, and it's not forgiving at all. And
no,
I mean, again, tragic story. I feel for the people's family and everything, but that it's windy. Stay off the water.
Yeah,
you got to be. I've been in bigger walleye boats on the Bay of Green Bay, and we've had to blow off the water real quick in a matter of the wind switched in 15 minutes. It was so bad, the roughest damn ride off the water.
Yeah.
It went from flat, calm, beautiful, sunny. It starts raining and the wind's cranking. We're in 3 to 4 foot waves, just getting our ass pounded trying to get off the water, and that's how quick it can turn.
But
it's amazing how stable those boats can actually be, though, because the last 2 years, I know I've shared this with you guys, that we've done this Lake Erie walleye trip, and every year it's the same thing. Day 1, beautiful. Day 2, 8 foot, 6 foot waves that are just beating the boat. And somebody's always sick, but it's a matter of just kind of getting your center of gravity and everything. And I don't know, if the captain feels fine with it, I'm good with it, but
Marine law,
you still got to be careful.
Marine law, 1 hand for you, 1 hand for the boat.
Yeah.
I've been on the Gulf of Mexico where I didn't have enough hands. I think it was like 20-foot rolls. It was to the point where we were offshore, and you go up on top of a wave, and you can see the horizon, and you go down into the swell, and you see nothing but a wall of water next to you. You go up on top, you see the horizon, you see a wall of water.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I don't recommend it. It was not fun. You could barely stand. It's like, oh, I'm supposed to hold this rod over a reef and wrench this Volkswagen off the bottom? Yeah, not happening.
Not happening.
Yeah.
Our biggest is that in disasters like that for getting licenses and guns and tipping over, I hadn't experienced that, but as you do, when we did water, we got a place up in the Sugar Camp area, just south of Eagle River, and we duck hunt over there for opening day just because I had everybody together. Nobody wanted to go out west, so we just stuck around there. And one of my buddies, he gets in, we all take off the pier, and we're fishing we're hunting the swamp, the back end of our lake, so it was easy. And a woman complained, and she said that pellets were hitting her home, which there's not a chance in hell any BBs were hitting her home. But we did find out later that these are a couple local greenheads. She feeds her ducks, and she doesn't want anybody out there. So we're out there, but then I turn back to the start, and we're going through as we're loading up, and my father says to one of them and says, "Hey, you know what? You make sure you got all steel. Get rid of that lead shell." He goes, no, it's my lucky shell.
Oh no,
it's my lucky one.
Oh no.
I go, what? Just get rid of it. No. It's my one lucky one. I keep it. So as we get back to my dock, the DNR, 2 officials are standing right there. We had a complaint from a woman. She says that you were pelting her home. And we said, no, that's fine. She was probably, but we have to satisfy this complaint, and we're going to just check it over. Let me see your licenses, registration, everything good.
They pull out the magnet on your
He
shells?
brings the magnet. Old Glenn sits there. He goes, "Oh no!" Whoop. Well, the lady was satisfied. We got 1 ticket. I believe it was this was a couple years. I think it was $192 or $172.
Wow.
1 lead shell. That was his good luck. And I said to him when we got back, I go, "Glenn, that is not your good luck shell." Got to the end of the pier and threw it in the water.
I've had a guy show up with me duck hunting the Bay of Green Bay and was a small game hunter or something before that, and reached into his coat pocket. It was one of the same coat. Reached in the coat pocket and goes, "Oh no," and pulls out a shell. I immediately ripped it out of his hand and threw it as far as I could into the Bay of Green Bay. I said, "It's gone. I don't care." It's like it's $1 for the shell. I don't care. It's gone. It's going to save you. I will not hunt near you with that around here.
Yep.
Oh, we were talking about water and stuff. New boating laws went into effect. That's something I think a lot of people may not know about or have forgotten about. I didn't know that this wasn't a thing necessarily, but on any federally navigable waterway, so that's Lake Michigan into the Bay of Green Bay, Lake Winnebago is included in that. So any federal waterway, the Mississippi River counts as that. If you're running your boat, you have to have the kill switch tether attached to yourself. So that's the lanyard or something around your wrist if you got a tiller, that if the boat operator falls out of the boat, it kills the motor and stops as the boat doesn't keep going. I didn't know that wasn't, something you boats all have them, so I just assumed that was part of it, but now it's actually a law, and they're going to be checking for that throughout the summer. So put an emphasis on making sure that if you're running a boat ever, you've got your kill switch attached.
And it is crazy. It is crazy. The jet skis have them because they're automatically attached. That's fine. And we just attach them to the vest. But in the boat, I read an article on it and says majority of you have these lanyards or these kill switches, and they're just dangling. And mine is just dangling. I have the red cord.
Yep.
It's there. So I'm going to have to I did see that you can just take it. It does have like a black clip on it, so you can clip it around your wrist.
Or clip it to your belt or something.
Exactly. So if I'm wearing my suit or something, because I generally don't wear a vest when I drive. Obviously I have my, my floating devices and stuff like that, and the throwable because I have less than a 26 foot, So I have all that, but I never had it. And when I read the article, I kind of chuckled to myself because, yes, I am one of those people that go around and I just see it bouncing around loosely, and now I have to connect it.
Yeah, I mean, I understand with like having a steering situation on a boat of not doing it, but tillers, like, again, when you go up to Canada, you'll see every time running around on the boats, they've got tillers on all the motors. The kill switch is right there in the tiller. So first thing, you flip it on your wrist, you fire up, you get going, and right when you get to the spot, you just slip it off your wrist, and it hangs there right over the throttle.
Gotcha.
So and it's just easy. And I think it is law in Canada. I think it is law. So that's where I've just always been used to doing it, run around in Canada or any of the tillers our duck boats are always tillers too. So it's the same thing. You just flip your switch, run around, and drop it off onto the handle. Yeah, and I think it has addressed it. Anything over 3 horsepower or 2, it has to. So it's, you're going to have to figure it out. But yeah, that's a big one because not knowing what's going to happen, talking to some of those people, the officials up in the Winnebago system and the river, it's a $100 fine, and they will most likely warn you the first time. But you know what? It's something that's going to change, and people fly around there, so you got to be careful. I figure the most violations are going to come from the Winnebago system. If I'm going to be guessing, it's going to be the Winnebago system, especially the party boaters and that sort of thing that happens out there. So, I'm trying to think anything else. Anybody else's mind?
I think that makes sense with jet skis and everything. You think you always want to do that because you're bouncing around, you're not really secure on top of that, and you can easily fall off. I guess that doesn't seem like something that you'd have to worry so much about in a normal boat, though. It's not like you're, really, really pounding the waves and that you're bouncing all over the place. But, now you can, as long as you're strapped in.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's something that obviously if Canada has it, someone's trying to go down there, DNR. I've never seen it. I've seen videos, crazy videos of guys flying on boats down in Fort Myers, down in Sarasota, and jacking around, and all of a sudden everybody flies off the boat. I've seen those. But up by us, I guess it's just another safety thing that it can't hurt. Speaking of crazy boat things, I was scrolling through Instagram the other day, and I don't know how it's my fault. I don't know what it was. There was a boat, and all it showed was the back of this boat, and they were firing up, I believe it was 6 450 horsepower motors. And I thought, what is this boat that has this on? And they never showed the rest of the boat. It was just showing the motors firing up in order. And I was like, oh, my Lord, what is this on and how freaking fast? Like, at what point is it too much? It's 6 450s. Right.
That's where it's too much.
Right.
That's where it's too much.
Excessive. Holy cow. Oh, yeah, when you mentioned that, it popped in my head, and I thought of that crazy thing that I saw. Anything else? Anybody else's mind? Nope. I've been, by the way, just enamored and loving having Bassmaster Elite Series on FS1 on weekends when the tournament's been happening. And, sitting in studio while we're recording this show from time to time, staring at my laptop like I may or may not be doing right now and watching some sort of bass-related tournament. I did see the schedule come out for this year, and as they were playing from 2020, there seemed to be a few events
whether it was MLF or I'm not sure exactly which event it was, but there were a few in Wisconsin, obviously. And then I looked at this year's schedule, and it looks like
nothing.
End of the year, maybe in August, end of August.
Typically is the time. Now, last year, the guys at the MLF came. They fished up in the Sturgeon Bay area. They did it in, was it early August? And then the week that I was in August, which was supposed to be the week we were going to be in Canada, so instead of go to Canada, I went up to Door County and fished up there. The guys of, it was also MLF, but it wasn't their other series.
Okay.
Those guys were up there doing their like pro end of the year tournament was up around there. It's fun to watch because the cabin I was staying at was right out in front of one of the big shoals out there. So as I'm watching my phone, watching live coverage of this tournament's happening, I know the guy where he's fishing. I can see his freaking boat from where I am in the cabin. He was out there away on the shoal, but I'm like, so one time I look at my wife and go, that guy boat, that's him right there. You point and see it. So I love when they come here and fish. I had the chance to do it, but something fell through last minute. The first year that the Bass Elites came and fished in Green Bay, that was the year that Jonathan Van Dam won, and my boy Brandon Polinick finished second. I was going to get it to go out and run with some of those guys during their like early practice days as media. But
was
it
that
fell
this
through
year?
last minute.
Last year.
This would have been like 2012, I believe.
Oh, okay. Weren't you going to do something last year in 2020 or 2019 or? Or were you just watching and just being a spectator?
Just watching.
Okay.
Just watching.
Yeah, okay.
That was when they're up in Door County.
Okay.
I was just up there. I happened to be fishing, and they were up there, so I was kind of spectating.
Yeah.
So, and it was cool. Again, so when we go into town and drive through Sturgeon Bay, there's some guys that are fishing inside, so you can see their boats, see them there. A couple of guys staying around hotels and campgrounds in the area, and it's always cool when the pros come and fish your body of water or your area, I think.
As I come into Winnebago, I'm at the marina. I'm at the Pioneer Marina, so I come off of 106 or South Park, right by the airport.
South Park, yeah.
As I'm coming down there, there's a weird intersection, and there's a gas station. There's a little I don't know if it's it's a small motel. And in that, I saw the blue, and I don't know who he is, the blue the Lucas Oil boat.
Okay.
And they were parked in there, and I'm like, wow. And then as you had mentioned you were going to watch it last year, I kind of putting things together, and obviously, I didn't know how it did it because whenever I watched it, it seemed like they would get all these guys together in the 4 a.m. We're all going to get here. We're going to eat sliders and coffee, and we're going to blindfold you, and we're going to take you somewhere random. And this guy's he's already living here, so he knows he's doing bagel.
Yeah, 2019, the guys of the Major League Fishing, the MLF Pro Series, they fished the Lake Winnebago system.
Okay.
Which I thought would have been a better tournament than it was. I've fished that system, and I've fished a ton of bass tournaments on that system. I'd kind of said like how guys were going to do it, and it was funny to watch some people that I know how they like to fish. Guys like my guy Brandon Polinick, that was his last year with MLF, of knowing he wanted to go fish smallmouth and what he's going to try and do. And I'm like, it's going to be tough, especially what happens in the body of water. It can be tough. And as he found out, he had to go in the whole tournament was one with largemouth.
Yeah, well, and they were. Did you see how they were? I believe this one. They all fished north, like they were all up in Neenah. They were all up in that Neenah area. And then a couple came back to the riverfront, but everybody was up on that whole northwest.
Yeah, majority of my stuff has all been everywhere from like Black Wolf, just south of Oshkosh, all the way up that shore up to Neenah. There is some good fishing in and around the Fond du Lac area. There's some big wide open grass flats and stuff that's down there, but and then some smallmouth fishing if you want to go onto the eastern side of the lake. But the wind, really quickly, that can just pound you, and it gets to be tough. And, like you said, you get over on that one side, the wind changes one direction, and it's that wet-ass ride all the way back across that body of water. Oh, I could talk about bass fishing forever. Speaking of fishing, there's this cool new tournament series. Head-to-head fishing is what it's called. This is a totally different format that started out a couple of years ago. So they kind of build it in sort of a bracket style. What they do is they get guys that go out and they literally fish head-to-head. So it's not you fishing against an entire field. It's you and another guy fishing against each other. And it's all catch and release, total weight, moves on to the next day.
Really? And
they've had this where it's at, like, they'll give you a range. And it might not be one specific lake. It might be like 3 different lakes. You could be at different places. And this is all covered. They actually have a website. It's all streamed online. I was going to be a commentator for those guys last year.
Really?
Truth be told.
Like match play.
2020 happened, so I was going to be one of the online commentators for their Bass series. 2020 happened, didn't be a thing. They still ran and kind of adjusted their format last year, but they came back. They're doing a pro walleye series this year that's like really huge. It's going to be interesting to watch how that format goes, because now that it used to always be what Bassmaster was. It was your 5 biggest fish, Yep. You have your cuts, and it comes down champion at the end of it all. There's all these different new kind of fun formats that are coming in that I'm kind of curious what's going to be the top. MLF, the Major League Fishing guys now do it's all catch and release, total weight moves on, and the person who wins gets an automatic bid to the championship. Then they have this whole knockout round, and the top 8 move in, and only 10 people fish the final day. But yeah, I'm going to try and get the guys of head-to-head, I think, on to kind of talk about it, because I think that what they're doing is a really fun, exciting format that I think would work really well for smaller local type tournament stuff to do. So it almost evens the playing field, because even last year it came down to one point where there was 2 people that are going head-to-head on a day where it was such a struggle of a day, nobody caught a fish. They completely blanked. So it came down to a coin flip of who advanced on.
Oh, really?
So it's just all these different wrinkles of things, because you could have that where, it could just be a craptastic day, or you could have where you're the one guy that's going against someone who isn't as good but has this. I just think it's really exciting, so I'm going to try and get a hold of guys head to head and get them on to talk about some stuff coming ahead. Let's get some guys on to talk about liquor.
Before we leave the fishing, just wait. So being up in that sugar camp area in the end of August, the 21st, whatever it is, they always have the big muskie tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you get I think there's like 4 or 5, I believe that you get 4 or 5 lake options. I don't know, but it's basically a 1-day event, 2-day event. And if it's 2-man boat, you pay and I don't know what the entrance fee is, but I've always thought when I've gone up there and I've always walked around and did buy my raffle tickets and stuff like that, I'm like, why not just go out there? And if one year, I believe 44-inch muskie was biggest fish. And I think the guy took home, I think he took home like a F-150 or something like that, or a boat. And I'm like, why don't we just go?
Boys, we're going.
Let's just go up there. Let's just go up there and just fish and just try to get lucky.
That's just it. You know what? Sometimes rather be lucky than good, right?
Yes.
Yep. That's kind of that battle on Bago, that big ice fishing tournament. Now they do a summer tournament as well. But when they first started, they're the second largest ice fishing tournament in the entire country. That's exactly it. You just buy your ticket, you catch a fish, you go and have it weighed, and they give out prizes based on what place that fish falls in. You could be 250th place in winning a brand new F-150. Now,
this year, Bago ice fishing was kind of back to normal.
Yeah.
Last year, I believe they only had about 35. It was guys were winning with. I don't know. I had a guy bring home a whole ice fishing package, and I think he caught like a 12-inch, something ridiculous. Yeah. One fish.
All it takes is just be lucky. Your fish falls in the lucky spot, and you win cool prizes instead of the typical formats of things. So. Anyway, I think we'll wrap it up here. We've chattered on enough about all kinds of things. The bourbon talk was probably my favorite part of it. So.
Yep.
Glad to have you, Tasker. We'll get you back in studio next time. Okay.
Hey, we got to get all 3 of us in at the same time one of these days.
In studio or out of studio doing something together. We got to get something to work out.
Yeah, we've got to find a name for what our outdoors are going to be. Our outdoor shows, our live shows.
Yes. I'd like to go get some reps before I'm up for plugging a turkey on May 12th. So I want to go get some reps in.
Well, are you gonna do buck rub?
I think we'd probably go shoot buck rub.
Well, okay. Well, then I would do that.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Sounds good, Taz.
All right, boys.
All right.
We'll see ya.
We'll chat soon.
Thank you.
All right.
In fact, that soon will be next show. We're going to go do a little shooting out at Buck Rub Archery, place that I shoot at a lot. I know Tasker shoots there with me. Get tuned up for turkey season and get you some tips on when it comes to getting ready for we'll apply it to turkey season, but it doesn't have to be. It can be about any season. We know turkey season going to be underway here throughout the entire state of Wisconsin, probably as you're listening to this podcast, but something to think about next year, or maybe as you go into archery season of whitetails. So don't miss the next episode. It is coming right here on the iHeartRadio app. And don't forget to follow us on socials. @On the Tailgate is where you can find us. I am @OnAirRidder. That's RIDDER. We want to hear what you think of the show, what you want to know more about, what kind of things you'd like this to be. Do you like just 3 dudes sitting around shooting the bull? Do you want something else? Seriously, let us know. It's a community. We want to hear your thoughts. So get a hold of us @On the Tailgate, Instagram and Twitter, the easiest ways, or you can always send me an email, Sean Ritter @iHeartMedia.com. For Tasker and Wags, I'm Sean Ritter. We'll catch you next time on Tailgate Talk.